Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem, live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher, alongside my good buddy Anthony Florio. We're hoping to get Michael Bullock. If he shows up tonight, great. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll see him tomorrow. You guys know the routine, how we do this. We're going to start off with NXT, then we're going to follow with AEW, and then normally I do a Mikey's Mindset on Friday. But because of the loaded show we got, I've decided that I'm gonna do a special Mikey's Mindset, a recap of Triplemania 29 that went down on Saturday night. I'll do it here tonight and just try to get this out of the way so that we'll be good to go for the remainder of the week because like we said, it is SummerSlam week. And we got a very, very, very major, chaotic, crazy episode that we're going to go. So we're just going to do this all in one shot. We're going to start it off with NXT, like we said. This is the go-home show for NXT 36. And we started off with Roderick Strong. Now, Roderick Strong was supposed to fight Kushida, and the Cruiserweight title was supposed to be on the line. However, earlier in the day, we found out that Kushida was medically unfit, not cleared by doctors to compete. So they decided that they were going to do a special challenge, a Diamond Mine challenge, and that man who took up the challenge was none other than Ilya Dragunov. Yes, he is the one that will be fighting Walter for the United Kingdom title in the main event of NXT 36 this Sunday night. And when it was all said and done, the winner of the bout, let me see. Do I have a time of the fall here? Let's see. No, I don't have a time of the fall. Uh-oh. Well, I'm going by ProWrestling.net, and unfortunately, they did not give me a time of the fall here. But Ilya Dragunov was the winner of the match. Look, I don't need a time of the fall to tell you that this was, without a doubt, one of the top fights of the night, if not the fight of the night. These two men absolutely went at it. There was a lot of chaos, good fighting, back and forth they went. It got so bad, Ilya drew blood, and he was a crimson mask. He was badly bleeding when this fight was over. This is what you talk about, be a man fight. This was my style of fight. I really enjoyed this. This was easily 3.5 to 3 3/4. Anthony Florio, you want to talk about one hell of a way to jump off an NXT show. This was, I'll openly admit it, this had NXT TakeOver quality. This fight had everything, including blood. I loved it.
Yeah, it did, and then some. But Did you just say that Dragunov and Walter is main eventing TakeOver 36?
That's supposedly what I heard. Now I don't know if I am wrong about it, but there was a rumor going around that Dragunov and Walter is getting the main event spot. As a matter of fact, if I remember, I think it was the commentator, Vic Joseph mentioned it, and I think I don't know if I heard it wrong or not, but I heard main event.
Wow, if that's true.
So I think they're giving it to Walter and Ilya. I think they're getting the main event spot.
And if that's the case, I'm gonna call for a new champ. That's all I'm gonna say. But we'll get into that on Friday night. But if that's true, on a show that has Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly 2 out of 3 falls, and Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship, that gets the main event spot. Wow.
Why not? I mean, look at what Walter has done. He is the longest reigning champion in the history of the company.
This is true. So, wow. But anyways, it is a shame that Kushida could not compete. The reason for him being taken out last minute was not explained, but hopefully he will be back in action shortly. Kushida versus Roderick Strong, whenever it happens, will be a great match. Ilya Dragunov versus Roderick Strong was a strong replacement, though it was a lose-lose situation for both men. The two should both be picking up wins. Strong losing this early in his Diamond Mine run undermines his claim to the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. That said, it was a good idea to have the number one contender to the NXT UK Championship pick up a win ahead of his match with Walter, especially given he lost to Pete Dunne last week. The action itself was good, but it felt a little more house show quality than TV, but it was still very good, though. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Time of the fall, 12 minutes and 3 seconds. That's what I have here. So, according to my source, 12:03. That's the time of the fall there, MF. So, 3.5, 3 3/4 of a star. And I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, MF dropping that nuke on me. I mean, oh boy, that just threw me for a loop. Wow.
Well, again, don't quote me on it. It's not official. You know, there's always that term of card subject to change. So it might not be the main event. It might not. Would I like it to be the main event? Absolutely. This fight was going to go off the chains. After the match was over, they cleaned Ilya up after he basically dropped a pint of blood on the ring. They cleaned him up, did it like a doctor's job and everything else. Cleaned him up, and he demanded the UK champion Walter to show up. Walter didn't come out. Don't worry, we'll have some fun with that later in the evening. Next up, we have it's Cameron Grimes versus Josh Briggs. Cameron Grimes wins the match in 2 minutes and 7 seconds. It was fine for what it was worth, so we're not gonna waste too much time on this one. Then we had a mixed tag match. We had Robert Stone and Jesse Camilla, representing the Robert Stone brand, going up against Index. Yes, they're finally together. Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. They win the match via submission. Again, this dude does not put time on the fall. What the hell? Anyway, but there was something that was very, very, very interesting after the match was over. All right, so as you can tell, before everything went down, backstage, there was Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano. They were talking among themselves, and the next thing you know, Indy comes out. She's got the tape fist like Dexter Lumis. She's got the Index shirt on. So obviously she's madly in love. She is in love. Love is in the air. Everything is great. So then Dexter Lumis comes, doesn't say a word, and he does his thing. They leave, and they go for the match. So, and you can see the mannerisms. Everything that Dexter was doing, Indy was doing. So it's kind of like they are together. They're in sync. Everything else. During the match, Anthony, as you notice, Indy got in trouble. Dexter just looked at her, gave her a look like, you got this. You know, come on, you got this. You got this. And she was able to get to the rope after a submission. A submission was locked in. She was able to get to the rope. That led to the setup for the finish, where they both put in a modified version of an anaconda vice. So at the end, this is where it gets interesting. So at the end of that, Dexter slides into the ring, does his crawl thing. Indy crawls out of the ring, looks at Beth Phoenix and nods something to her. Beth then, lifts up her headset and talking to her, probably telling her, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure? Do you want to do this? Are you sure?" Indy, you could tell her nodding her head yes, and you could see her muttering something like, "Yeah." Something goes in her hand, and you see Beth kind of giving her a pep talk, like, just like, go for it, do it, whatever it is, you got this, just do it. She goes back into the ring. Dexter doesn't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. Indy drops to one knee, opens a box, shows it to Dexter. Dexter rips the glove off, tosses it, nods his head yes. It's a ring. We got ourselves a wedding and a wedding date.
How about that?
I can't even believe that this happened. This is the thing that got me so ticked off at Didi Woodson last night. And Floyo, you know what I'm talking about. Because I did the exact same thing, and she didn't grasp it. I literally did the Michael Fletcher I can't take it face last night at Didi Woodson. I literally did.
The infamous towel over the face. Is that what you did?
Not the towel over the face, but it was the hands over the face. I took the glasses off. I put the palm. It was the palm face, and I'm just like, oh, you got to be kidding, Didi. I literally, like, I never ever would ever say this, but I felt like taking her. I felt like using the checkered apron on her last night when that happened. But it is what it is. She kind of grasped it now. She got it, but she totally was off. And Florio, because you probably saw the little chat, and you were probably like, "Oh, I exactly know what MF was going for," and I know what you were thinking.
Yep. And by the way, time of the fall was 9 minutes and 17 seconds.
All right, so it's all yours, bro. It's all yours anyway.
All right. Business first, fun after when it comes to this. This was a fun segment that continued the success of the story for Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. The two have strong chemistry as a mixed tag team, and they have great comedic timing together. While this was not much more than a squash, the story was worth the limited wrestling. The engagement of Index felt sudden, but WWE has rarely taken time with stories, and it should be entertaining to watch the latest wrestling wedding unfold. I could probably give this about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for the effort, but all right, now this is where we're going to have the fun now. I promised MF we would have some fun with his little moment there during this. You heard MF say we got ourselves a wedding and a wedding date. Where did that emanate? Well, as the professor of this show, I will tell you exactly where that emanated. It was the July 7th, 1991 episode of Superstars of Wrestling. Meet the late great, a lot of late greats here. Late great Mean Gene Okerlund, the late great Miss Elizabeth, in the ring together doing an interview, and Miss Elizabeth was gushing over the Macho Man Randy Savage, saying that. And I remember her saying, and I quote, "I love that man." And that moment, Vince McMahon and Roddy Piper on commentary, along with Macho, Vinnie Mac and the Hot Rod were like going, "Whoa," and all that. And they encouraged Macho to jump down there and get in there. And that's exactly what Macho did. Macho popped the question to Miss Elizabeth. She said, "Oh, yeah." Crowd goes nuts. Roddy Piper loses his mind. We got ourselves a wedding and a wedding day. And Vinnie Mac throws in the, "How about that?" And then after they showed that video package at SummerSlam 1991, you'll never forget the late great Gorilla Monsoon saying, "Oh, yes, indeed." And the rest of the story, the wedding happened. You can make an argument, the greatest wrestling wedding of all time. capped off by another late great, Bobby the Brain Heenan, saying, "I'm getting stuff on my suit." Yeah. So that's where MF got that from.
And actually, another side note, Anthony, that moment actually happened at Arco Arena in Sacramento, California.
That's correct. That is right. Yes, the July 7th, 1991 episode of Superstars of Wrestling. Or it might have been known as just plain Superstars at that time, but nonetheless, MF is absolutely right. The Arco Arena, Sacramento, which of course the longtime home of the Sacramento Kings before they moved into that beautiful brand new Golden One Center, and but anywho, special. I mean, one of the greatest moments in the history of professional wrestling, and you can make an argument it's perhaps the greatest wedding of all time. And that's I just want to see something here real quick. I don't believe no. Unfortunately, that episode is not on Peacock. Unfortunately, Superstars is there, but it only goes from 92 to 94. So that's all we get on that. So damn shame, but it is what it is. You can find it on YouTube though. I'm almost certain it's there. So but anyways, like I said, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Robert Stone, you look like an absolute goof during this match. What the hell was that? Oh my Lord. I mean, I don't know what in the world he was wearing there, but good Lord. Good Lord, boy. What were you wearing? Oh, good grief. What was that? That's all I can say on that. I mean, but all kidding aside, like I said, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Yes, MF, I knew what you were going for during the messenger chat. And let's just say this was my way of owing you one, because I had to owe you one after you got my Rock and Goldberg reference on Raw a few weeks ago. So that was my way of paying you back. So I owed you one. So there you go. We're even. So, but anywho, relive it. July 7th of 91. Macho proposing to Miss Elizabeth. You know the story, and the wedding, stuff on my suit. I don't think this wedding is going to be anything like that. Because if we've learned anything from wrestling weddings over the last 20 plus years, there is no such thing as a sure thing. No such thing. Don't believe me? Don't believe me? You do go on Peacock, because it'll be there. You know it's there. Go to Peacock and look up November of 99, Monday Night Raw, Test and Stephanie McMahon. You know the history.
So, there's a lot of wedding interruptions that's happened.
That was one.
In wrestling.
That was perhaps the most.
That's the most infamous of them all.
And how much fun have we had? And how much fun have we had with that? And to this day, how much fun have we had with that?
Yeah.
Especially during our high school days. I mean, good Lord. And of course, one that always stood out to me, Edge and Lita, when Kane interrupted and the priest said JC, and you know what that means. So,
yep.
And how much fun I had with that one, and then, oh my gosh, and so many others, not just in WWE but other wrestling promotions. So that's all there is to say. If we learned anything for the last like 20 plus years, I'd say,
yep,
no such thing as a sure thing, folks. That's all there is to say on that. The only wedding, only 2 weddings have ever gone off without a hitch. Uncle Elmer and Vicky, and on one of the very first episodes of the Saturday Night's Main Event. That's on Peacock as well. They just added that, so it's there. Oh yeah, almost everything is up there now. They said they were going to have they were going to try to get everything up by August. Last time I checked, we're in August, and almost everything is just about there. So all those main events are there now, and including that one at the legendary Meadowlands. So the Uncle Elmer wedding with his lady and or Joyce. I always call her Vicky. I think I'm thinking about Tiny Tim and Vicky. That's the one I'm thinking of. It was Uncle Elmer and Joyce. That's who it was. Joyce. That was the lady's name, and that went off without a hitch. Even though the hot rod and my boy Jesse the Body interrupted that one, but
yep. I remember that day because Hogan got in between on that one, and boy was he hot.
Oh yeah, so, yes indeed. And then the other, of course, and maybe the greatest of them all, no wedding will ever top Macho and Liz. That's all there is to say on that.
You know what?
And during my SummerSlam recall, I relived that sucker, and I get the goosies every time I watch it back, man.
Yeah.
30 years later, I still get the goosies. So.
It's one of the. You know what? There's always been legendary moments in Madison Square Garden when it comes to, WWE or anything like that. And let me tell you, that's another one of those legendary moments in the world's most famous arena. So there's really nothing more to add. So it is what it is. We're all set. And so we'll just move right on along. And the next thing that we had on this show was... well, then we had a promo. Well, it was a one-on-one thing as they were talking about. This was setting up for the women's title fight between Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Then that moves on to the breakout tournament, the semifinal. Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson going one-on-one with Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes advances to the finals. He will be going against Odysseus Jones. And you know what? This is a solid match. This is an okay fight. I could give this a couple of stars, two to 2.25 stars. I thought it was a solid fight. I think it could have been better, but at the end of the day, I thought they did all right with it. I can't wait to see the final, though. I think the final is going to be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. There's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it is yours.
Okay. Time of the fall, 8 minutes and 55 seconds. I can only give this like 2.25, 2.5 for the effort. Hayes continues to be the only man having complete matches in this tournament. He and Hudson had a solid match that could be better with more time and story in the future. While Hudson did stand out in this tournament, there was no way he could defeat Hayes. The young competitor has made a lasting impact in a short time. He feels like the closest NXT has to a true young breakout talent. He may not defeat Odyssey Jones next week, given their relative size. However, what will matter most is to end this lackluster tournament on a high. Let Hayes and Jones show what they can do. And two quick things. First, a correction MF. It's Odyssey Jones. That's his name. And the other, that tournament final will take place next Tuesday night on NXT. There you go.
All right. And thus, we now lead us into what was the promo, was the main event of the evening. It was the main event of the matches, to say the very least. And this was for the NXT World Tag Team titles, as it was MSK going up against Imperium. MSK successfully defend the titles, 10 minutes, 59 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yeah, you can make an argument. Another fight of the night here. I could probably give this about 3.5 to 3 3/4 as well. This was a very solid TV title match. It just lacked the necessary drama of great tag matches. MSK never truly lost control of this match to the point that the audience believed they could lose. The action sold that this is a match that should not be one and done. Take Walter and Dragunov out of the way and let these teams fight the next time to the finish on their own. It could be something truly special. If NXT does not set up a rematch, MSK is running low on serious challengers. The team has dominated too many teams in a short term and need a fresh competitor. So that's all I can say there. 3.5, 3 3/4 star. The other big fight of the night on this show, along with Roderick Strong and Ilya Dragunov. So Not much more to say. MF, your thoughts on this NXT tag title matchup?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was good. I thought they did a good job with it. I really enjoyed it. I could say, like you said, about three is about 2.5, 2 3/4. Solid main event. Nothing more to add. And the overall review for NXT, I really felt like this blew by pretty comfortably. I didn't think it was anything. It wasn't anything special about it. I think it could have been a lot more better in certain areas. I'll give you that. But I thought, all in all, not bad. 7 out of 10. Solid 7 out of 10 for me. So, Anthony, I'll give you the last say, and then we'll set up for AEW.
7.5 for me. What happened last night's show was dedicated to doing the hard sell for NXT Takeover 36, and it did a fairly good job of that. We got some good promotion and hype for all the matches, and had a couple good matches at the same time, while Index continues to steal the show. Definitely no complaints out of us for the most part, and we're definitely looking forward to Takeover 36 on Sunday night, which we will preview on Friday night as part of that supersized edition of the Cerebral Smack Talks. So there's not much more to say on that. 7.5 out of 10 for me. So with that being said, MF, let's move on to another live edition of AEW Dynamite from the University of Houston at the Fertitta Arena.
That's right. And we started it off with a tornado tag team match. Darby Allin and Sting goes up against Matt Lee and Jeff Parker 2.0. Sting and Darby wins it in 6 minutes and 15 seconds. Good. It was an okay match. Short, sweet, straight to the point. I don't think there was much in the way. I don't think 2.0 stood a chance of winning this match, though. This was about maybe 2.25, 2.5 for me. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. As we always like to say, MF, fun little sprint here. Anyone who blindly supports WWE and insists it's not the booking, but rather the talent that is to blame when they do not succeed, needs to look no further than Lee and Parker. Released from their contracts as a result of quote-unquote budget cuts, they arrived in AEW and have already proven their worth by mixing it up with Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin, and Sting. Booking was the problem because the artists formerly known as Everrise have picked up the proverbial ball and ran with it, making the absolute most of this opportunity. They were great here, the perfect heels to battle Allin and Sting in this match. They elevated their game on the offensive and bumped like hell to put their opponents over. And in the process, they got the rub from having worked with one of the biggest stars in the history of professional wrestling. This was fun, energetic, and had fans on their feet from the moment the bell rang. I could call this sleeper fight of the night here. I could give this 2.5 to 3 stars. I mean, that's how really good this match was. And yeah, color me surprised about Everrise. I mean, I hated these guys in NXT. They got on my damn nerves, but they've I never thought about a month or so after they got released from NXT, I never thought they'd go in AEW and actually win me over. I'm impressed, guys. I'm impressed. So that's all I can say on that. Never thought I'd hear myself say that, but it's true. And give it up for Sting. Man, I mean, what this guy is doing, I mean, the man is 62 years old and he's still doing things at a high level. I mean, that's insane. I mean, the man looked like he was friggin' 30 all over again. I mean, I thought for a minute there he was channeling the old bleach blonde flat top haircuts thing. The one that we all remember from, the late 80s and early 90s of WCW before he became the Crow, which of course became his most successful gimmick. But man alive, I mean, he gets put through a table and comes out of it like it was nothing. And then a double scorpion death drop. And then a double Scorpion Deathlock. Damn, that is wow. I don't know what else there is to say. Fun little sprint, 2.5 to 3 stars. MF, we gotta give it up for Sting, man. 62 years old and still taking bumps like that and doing things like that. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy what is happening, but it is what it is. You get those type of things, and yeah. So after that, Sammy. Well, before we get to the match, then we had well, let me see if I can find it here. All right. So then I guess you could say Sammy Guevara comes out. There was a match between Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears. Sammy Guevara wins the match in 9 minutes and 50 seconds, but that's not just the only story that came out of this. I guess this was before the match. Sammy Guevara, in his hometown, proposes to his girlfriend, Pam. She obviously said yes. So, just like what happened the last night with Index, Sammy Guevara proposes marriage and gets a yes. But this one's real life. Sammy and his girlfriend Pam has been together for a number of years now. And now they're obviously getting married. Now, the question is, was this meant for TV? Or is this real life? Is this going to be away from the cameras, not with AEW? Are we going to get an actual wedding where it's away from the cameras? Because that was my logic. But I have a thing about it. I'll get to it in a minute. Anthony, I'll give it to you. But Sammy Guevara gets the girl, but more importantly, gets a huge win over his bitter rival.
For the second time tonight, we got ourselves a wedding and a wedding date. How about that? So, wow. I know I might be overrating this, but I don't care. 3 3/4 to 4 stars. I mean, the energy in the arena for Guevara's homecoming was off the charts, and as a result, what was an otherwise strong mid-card match was elevated exponentially. The action was tighter, the strikes stiffer, and blood was spilled as the workhorses of the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle delivered a quality grudge match finale. Guevara looked very much like a star, a guy on the rise in the future of the company, and he is. The Spanish God has enjoyed a banner 2021 and looks poised to be a consistent main event performer sooner rather than later in AEW. Shawn Spears remains one of the unsung heroes of the company, a consummate professional who can always be counted on to deliver when called upon. I'm just going to pull the damn trigger. 4 stars. This was insane. I mean, the near falls, the spots, the crowd. I mean, that's what did it. So I got to give it 4 stars, and you could certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night, although there is one other match that definitely deserves to be in that discussion. Absolutely. We'll get into that in a short. But for right now, this was 4 stars. MF, if they could give us a 4-star match in about 10 minutes, imagine what they could have done in 15 to 20. It would have been 5 if it had been another 5 or 10.
Easy, Romeo. You overscored this. This was 3.5 to me. I'm sorry. I disagree. I mean, yes, it was great. Yes, it was a solid match. Yes, it had everything that it needed it to be. And I will go as far to say this was Shawn Spears' best performance ever in AEW. Out of all the matches he's been in, this was his personal best. No doubt about it. As far as Sammy Guevara goes, this was really good. This was great in his part, but I'm not getting caught up in all that hoopla. I'm sorry, I'm not. That's not me. But I'll give it 3.5. But definitely, if it could have got in 20 minutes, I think it would got in at least, in my eyes, 4.5, close to 5. But I thought it was a solid match. I thought it was really good wrestling and everything else. The one thing that is really puzzling me is about the proposal. And this is why. Because of the fact that I want to say that, did Sammy had an idea of doing this? Like, did he legitimately have an idea of doing it tonight? If it was his home, if he was doing it with his girl and everything else, then all right, I'm not going to slam it. I'm not going to pan it and everything else. Because of the fact that it was too coincidental, because think about it, the night before we had a marriage proposal on NXT, and now we had one on AEW tonight, it seemed a little coincidental to me. Now I get it. I get it. It's two totally different factions. It's two totally different factors. So what I would say is that if you're AEW, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy for Sammy. I hope this doesn't turn into an angle down the line. I hope they don't do the wedding as an angle. I don't think they need that. I hope that if Sammy's going to do it away from the cameras. Have your special day. She's an amazing girl. I think a former wrestler herself in the company, not in AEW, but independently. I think she's a wrestler herself. So I'm happy for Sammy. Sammy is one of the good guys. So I think we all know that really well. If you've seen his vlogs on YouTube, go out of your way to watch them. They're hilarious as hell, man. They're really, really good. They're really good. So I really got nothing more to add. I just wanted to do a nitpick there. I think it was a fair nitpick than anything else, but it is what it is. Next up, we had after a whole bunch of stuff, we had the Young Bucks versus the Jurassic Express for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Winners of the bout in roughly 12 minutes, and still the tag team champions was the Young Bucks. Look, all right, I get it. I understand it. I just feel like it gets to a point where enough is enough. I'm sick of the overbooked finishes. I'm sick of the overbooked beatdown after the matches where the Young Bucks and Omega gets over on the baby faces. I mean, it gets to a point where you're just like, but here's the thing. I get why Omega did what he did. That was retribution for what happened on Friday when he lost the Impact World title to Christian Cage. And because of that, I get that part. But all the other stuff, I just can't get with. This was a great match, and it could have been a better outcome for me. This is at least 3.25 stars because this would have been easily 3.5. But I just did not like some stuff about the match. I might be nitpicking. I know I'm nitpicking here, but I don't care. There's just something about this that just did not sit well with me at all. Florio, it's yours.
What was the time of that fall again?
In roughly 12 minutes.
12 minutes, huh? All right. You don't have to love the Young Bucks or the incessant interference by the Elite that has defined their heel run, but it is nearly impossible to argue the results. Matt and Nick Jackson are on a streak of extraordinary in-ring performances, the likes of which we have not seen out of a tag team since the height of the Rock and Roll and Midnight Expresses. Whether it is stealing the show against young teams like Top Flight and the Acclaimed, or raising the bar against Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, they are the measuring stick for tag team wrestling today. Their excellence was on full display here as they had less time than usual and still delivered a 4-star affair against the red-hot Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Jurassic Express is perpetually over, and if this loss did anything, it created greater fan fervor for an eventual tag title win. In fact, that duo is so hot right now that the argument very well could be made that they should be the team to dethrone the Young Bucks. Someone will, and based on the heat the team has developed through their cheating ways, it'll be a hell of a moment when it happens. Unfortunately, this is going to lead to another disagreement. Hopefully, it'll be the last disagreement we have, but I know MF didn't like the match and everything else. That's fine. You can't please everybody, as we always like to say. But for me, this was my other fight of the night here, along with that Guevara and Spears match. I'm going to make a little indemnity on that. I'm gonna drop that down to 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star for that other match. But for this one, this was definitely a 4-star affair, regardless of how others score it. But that's just my opinion, with all due respect. And I could easily call fight of the night on this. And it was also announced that this Friday night and on Rampage, and again on next Wednesday's Dynamite, there was an announcement that there was going to be a 4-team World Tag Team Eliminator Tournament. The first match will be on Friday night on Rampage. I believe it's going to be the Private Party squaring off against the Jurassic Express. And then the other match, which I believe will be next Wednesday night on Dynamite, it'll be the Varsity Blondes squaring off against the Lucha Bros. The winning team, whoever wins that tournament, will advance to All Out on September the 5th and will face the Young Bucks for the World Tag Team Championship inside of a 15-foot high steel temper cage. Let's go. What else is there to say? For me, 4 stars, fight of the night. But MF, what a payoff here. We got a big tournament. There's going to be a cage match. So hopefully that cage will do its job and keep the competitors in, and hopefully keep that damn elite out. And I agree with you. I'm sick of that interference myself.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, so next up after that, we had a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so we had Thunder Rosa versus Penelope Ford. Now this stems from AEW Dark on YouTube. Now Penelope Ford was in a match. She won her match, but basically started beating down her opponent after the match. Thunder Rosa was in commentary, had enough, and V-line towards the ring. Shoeless, by the way. So this led to this matchup. Thunder Rosa wins it. Unfortunately, Anthony, I don't have a time of the fall for this one. You're gonna have to do another craft snooping for this one. But Thunder Rosa does get the win. She knocks off the super bad Penelope Ford, and Thunder Rosa continuing her winning ways, possibly a possible date against Dr. Britt Baker. But it looks like Britt Baker's got quite a few challengers heading up the ranks on the AEW Women's title picture.
Oh, indeed. And this was a Tony and Mikey special, if you really think about it, because MF, we all know how much you love Thunder Rosa. I mean,
yes,
it's no secret.
No secret.
You're a big fan of that young lady, and rightfully so. Going back to her NWA days, and now in All Elite. I'm trying to find a time of the fall here. I'm hopeful I'll find it, but the reason why I say a Tony and Mikey special is, yes, MF is a huge Thunder Rosa fan, not just for her beauty, but also for her in-ring ability. And for me, I'm a Penelope Ford guy. Well, I think looking at that beautiful dame, I think you can see why that I am a humongous and I do mean humongous, Penelope fan, absolutely. And unfortunately, I can't find the time of the fall either, so we're just going to have to wing it here. So, but from what I saw, Ford and Rosa had a competitive match, but there was a time or two in which it appeared as though they were on different pages. Still, the reversals late were pretty cool and helped the women recover after an iffy start. I probably would give that about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star.
All right.
MF, it was your girl Thunder Rosa comes out on top with the win, and but let me tell you, Penelope Ford, she can go. She's one of the few workhorses in that women's division. I know one of the few things we've poo-pooed on about AEW is the women's division, but they have slowly but surely gotten better. They've had a major improvement over the last year, and matches like that were one of the reasons why. And even though Penelope lost tonight, I think she can definitely be a mainstay in the women's division within the next couple of years. But for right now, it's definitely Rosa's time. And I think, MF, if anybody should dethrone Dr. Britt Baker as AEW Women's World Champion, it should be Thunder Rosa, in my opinion.
It could be. She has done it. And we'll have to wait and see. I mean, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this plays out. So Thunder Rosa gets the win. Yeah, 2.5 stars. I could give you that. That leads us to the main event of the evening. The main event. This was the big one. MJF versus Chris Jericho in the 5th Labor of Jericho. And on this one, Jericho was not allowed to use the Judas effect, and it proved up to be costly. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, gets the win. 14 minutes, 55 seconds. Oh. All right. You could easily call this fight of the night. This is where I'll draw the 4 on this one, the 4-star level. This was excellent. This was a great body of work. Thank God Michael Bullock is not here. He'd be going absolutely ballistic right now because he hates MJF. But this is a big win for him. That's a monumental win. But you also got to give credit to Chris Jericho for all the stuff he went through, that 5 labors, and to get there only to fall short at the end. Tough way to go out. Not the way that you wanted to go home happy if you're a fan, but MJF is the future of AEW. Big win for him, taking down Chris Jericho. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, I definitely agree. 4 stars is definitely the rating for this. It's not often I say this, but considering the wrestling landscape and fans' constant desire for younger and fresher, I hate to say it, but this was the wrong outcome. For 5 weeks, AEW took us on this journey of Chris Jericho's labors, putting the grizzled veteran through hellish tests throughout. There was the first match with Shawn Spears, the death match with Nick Gage, the nostalgic cruiserweight showdown with Juventud Guerrera, and the physical dismantling at the hands of Wardlow. After enduring all that and finally getting to MJF, Jericho just taps? It would have made more sense if those opponents specifically attacked the injured arm, but they did not. At least not consistently. Jericho simply tapped here. The pain too much for him to endure, despite a seething hatred that fueled him through everything he suffered in the weeks leading into the bout. The match itself was very good and had the fans in Houston invested the whole way through. The finish was great too, with Jericho hesitating just for a moment and MJF making him pay for it. Under any other circumstance, MJF winning would have been the absolute right call. Here, it just felt like an anticlimactic conclusion to long-term storytelling AEW set in motion well over a month ago. But other than that, fantastic match here. 4 stars, no doubt about it. So, not much more to say. Let's just get into the overall review.
You lead off.
Yeah, I do. I got to give this 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. I mean, the show flew by for one. And all the matches, I don't think any of the matches sucked. I mean, I think all the matches were solid to good to great. I mean, we had 3 pay-per-view quality matches on this show. That tag team title match, Spears and Guevara, and the main event. Those are the 3 matches you got to go out of your way to see if you're pressed for time. No doubt about it. You definitely got to go out of your way to see those 3 bouts. And that opener, the Texas Tornado tag opener, was a fun little sprint. And the red hot crowd commentary was great as usual. And if it wasn't for a couple of pointless, if it wasn't for 3 pointless, unnecessary segments, I would have gone a lot higher for this. But I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10 for the effort here. I mean, if you take away those segments, which one was sort of necessary, the others not so much, but other than that, I mean, you talk about how Friday Night SmackDown over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's been the in-ring segments, the promo segments that have been better than the matches. This time around, when it comes to AEW, the matches were far better than the in-ring segments. That's all there is to say on that. So 8 out of 10. I would have gone higher, but a few of those segments rubbed me the wrong way. One in particular, and MF knows where I'm going with it. So that's all there is to say for me. 8 out of 10. Great show, great matches, great crowd. So MF, man, I love that AEW crowd, man. Oh my God. I mean,
yeah,
they're right up there with ECW. They're right up there with ECW and New Japan and
new earlier days of NXT too. NXT fans were like that too, especially
when
they were
doing crowds. They're getting IWC crowds every week, and I love it.
And we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going with that. So yeah, no doubt about it. 8 out of 10. I agree with you, Florio. So you pretty much said everything you need to say. All right, quick thought. I'm just gonna give a quick thought on Triplemania, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. First off, we had a trios Marvel Lucha Libre Edition exhibition match, where it was Terror Purple versus Team Linda Americana. Now the participants in this were very interesting. So you had Linda Americana, who represented the Golden Mask, which is a wrestler from Japan. El Equino, he actually was dressed as El Hijo de Viking. And then the other one was La Estrella Conocida, and she actually was Lady Maravilla. As for the heel team, Terra Purple was actually Brian Cage. La Fernandante, which is he was Torres, and the last one was Perura Latal, or she actually was Lady Shanti. That was the for the heel side. The faces won the match. That was basically expected. Then we had the 12-person for the Copa Badral Triplemania 29. This was actually Mr. Iguana winning the battle royale. He was the last man standing once it was all said and done. Then we had the big fight of the evening, one that Anthony Florio had a vested interest in as well. This was title for title, champion versus champion, winner take all. The Impact Knockouts champion, the Virtuosa Diana Perazzo, versus the AAA Reina de Reinas champion, Fabi Apache. Diana Perazzo won it all. She has both belts. She won the match. She is now still the Impact Knockouts champion, but more importantly, the new Reina de Reinas champions. She is now a double champion in 2 companies. Then we had a triple threat tag team match for the tag team titles, as it was El Hijo de Viking and Laredo Kid versus Brian Cage and Torres versus the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo, and of course the Lucha Bros. They win it. They keep the titles. They successfully defend it. Then we had a trios fight, as it was La Empresa, Puma King, Semadonis, and DMT Azul. They went up against the 3 members of Team AAA, Pagano, Chessman, and Murder Clown. And it was La Empresa with a big win, a huge upset, as they take down Team AAA on this one. Then one of the marquee fights of the evening, if not the biggest match of the night, the Mega Campeon on the line, the Mega Championship, the champion Kenny Omega versus the challenger Andrade El Idolo. And in the corner of Kenny Omega was Conan. In the corner of Andrade, woo! The Nation Boy, Ric Flair. This was a mega pop. The building, el estadio de la Ciudad de Mexico went absolutely ballistic. The fans were stunned. I literally was marking out. I could not believe my eyes. Ric Flair in AAA. This was a pinch me moment. This was am I actually dreaming?
No.
Right. No. And
you obviously know the reasoning for that, of course.
Well, obviously, yes.
That's his soon to be son-in-law. Come on now.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, and I actually got a little extra thing. Conan did a podcast the other day, and they talked about it. With Ric Flair coming down, he's like, yo, and it was him with Disco Inferno, and I think there's one other guy, and they were talking about it. They were like, so, Conan, how did you get Ric Flair? How did that happen? How did he end up appearing at Triplemania 29? And Conan's like, well, it was more Andrade. But I talked to Rick, and I was like, yo, you know what? You're going to be here. We know you're going to be here. He's like, would you like to come on out? Would you like to, be in the corner of Andrade? Because initially they were going to use an international Mexican pop star to walk Andrade out to the ring. A big celebrity for Mexico, and that was going to be the thing. But the deal fell through. So they were unable to get that star, and Ric Flair was offered, and because Flair was just going to be in the back, he wasn't going to be there, because not only was he there, Charlotte was also there. She was in the back, in the locker room area of Triplemania. So she was in Mexico City on Saturday night, but she never made an appearance on stage at ringside. But then again, if she would have shown up, she might have gotten in big trouble with WWE. She would have gotten in huge trouble with WWE. So she was there in the back from all reports that we've heard, and Conan even confirmed that Charlotte was in Mexico City, and she was at the Estadio, but she was in the back in the locker room area. With Ric Flair, they asked him, you know what? Why don't you be Andrade second? Why don't you be in the corner with Andrade? And he said yes. And fortunately for us, we had that glorious moment. It was already a glorious moment seeing Andrade come out, getting into his gear and, standing at that rampway with the fire exploding all over the place, it gave a visual of like an unbelievable moment. But then to hear the world famous Ric Flair music blasting through the speakers, and there was about maybe 1,000 fans because of the COVID protocols and everything else. But let me tell you, it felt like there was 10,000 fans the minute Ric Flair walked out, because the place exploded. You heard a massive cheer, the woos, and everything else. The commentators, no puede ser, no puede ser. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe my eyes. This cannot be real. That's what they were saying. That's what the commentary was. And even for me, I was like, whoa, Ric Flair. I was marking out on the Messenger chat because I'm thinking, all right, Andrade versus Omega. But then you throw Ric Flair in it. This was the first time Ric Flair showed up since being released from WWE. And he literally went through the forbidden door and landed in AAA. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. All right. Omega wins the match. Omega still the champion. But here's another thing that actually talked about that wasn't talked about, and I cannot believe I haven't heard a peep from Derek Ferrer. But then again, you don't want it. If it's anything negative about AEW, he'll dismiss it as fake news or anything else. Andrade was supposed to win the title that night. He was gonna walk out as the new Mega Campeón. AEW went to AAA and told him, listen, we need Omega to go over on this one. He just lost the Impact title. If he loses this title, I think this will hurt his character in AEW. We need him to be a champion just for a little while longer. Can you reverse your decision and let Omega go over? Do it cheating so that you can give Andrade another opportunity down the line. Obviously, AAA is going to say yes. They're in a working relationship with AEW. And it looks like it worked. It panned it out for everybody. So what happened was, this is the finish. And then you can say whatever you want to say. It comes to the closing moments. Andrade's going for the end. He's going for the title. It looks like he was going for the ender. The referee gets taken out. And the referee's down. Ref bump. Next thing we know, Omega tries to use the Mega Campeón and tries to whack Andrade with it. Flair comes in, grabs the belt from Omega. Omega swings at Flair and gets knife edge chopped. Then you start seeing Omega and Andrade. You see Flair and Andrade trading knife edge chops on Kenny Omega. Omega drops. Conan runs into the ring. He gets knife edge chopped by Ric Flair. And a visual that I know fans will never forget. Ric Flair slaps the figure 4 leg lock on Conan. Andrade puts the figure 4 leg lock on Kenny Omega at the same time. Center of the ring. Referee comes to, starts yelling at Ric Flair to get out of the ring, doesn't call for a disqualification, tells him to get out of the ring, tries to push Conan out of the ring. In the midst of all this, Omega grabs the belt, whacks Andrade across the face, grabs Andrade, One Wing Angel on the championship belt. Throws the belt away, and a fast count by the referee. 1, 2, 3. The fight is over. Omega successfully defends the title. Unbelievable. And that wasn't even the main event of the evening. The main event of the evening was Psycho Clown, Psycho Clown going up against Rey Scorpion. This was the Lucha de Apparatus. This one was hair versus mask. So Psycho Clown gets to keep the mask. Rey Scorpion had to get his hair shaved. However, they had an issue with the clippers. They had a major issue. They couldn't find any clippers to get the haircut. So they finally did. They found some shears, so they cut his hair off, but they were unable to finish the job because he's supposed to go completely bald. But they decided, no, just do the haircut. Maybe we can fix it in the back, in the locker room, that he could lose his hair completely. But there was a point of contention in the main event because Psycho Clown hit him below the belt. A clear and obvious foul. A boot to the nuts. Should have been a disqualification where Psycho Clown should have lost his mask, but the ref did not call it and let Psycho win the match. So definitely a little bit of controversy at the end of Triplemania. It was a solid show, but there was definitely some overbooks, especially at the end. So really nothing more to add. We're done for the night. Anthony Floyo, come on in. Set the table up for tomorrow night's Strictly Sports.
Yes, the penultimate edition of Strictly Sports, and I need to make a change. There was one big thing in the world of sports that came out, I believe yesterday, that I strongly feel needs to be addressed on this show. So I'm gonna bump one segment that I had previously announced. I had previously, there was some sort of a trade that went down, but I'm gonna bump that. So here is the revised docket for tomorrow night, Strictly Sports. We're still gonna have our tribute to Bobby Bowden, because come on, Bobby Bowden, hello. I mean, we'd be idiots if we didn't do that. So Bobby Bowden tribute to start it. We will also address the Field of Dreams game, the New York Yankees and the Chicago White Sox. Here's the new segment. I don't know if you know, MF, but yesterday, the 2021-2022 NBA schedule was released. And
Yes.
that's why. Yes, and that's why I think that needs to be added to this show. So we're gonna break down the NBA schedule, the notable games, the standout games for us, obviously. Of course, Christmas, hello, and then after that we'll have MF do his supersized Big Three basketball recap, since we didn't have a show last week. And then from there, MF and if he's on, Michael Bullock, if Bullock is on, him and MF will share their experiences from Gillette Stadium, going to the preseason game for the New England Patriots against the Washington football team, with select members of MF's 2184 crew, and in the main event, we'll close it out with our final thoughts on the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. We'll address our favorite moments and the medal count and all that stuff, and that'll be tomorrow night on Strictly Sports. And then the following week, in addition to MF's latest Big Three basketball recap on that show, it will be the season finale of Strictly Sports, as we will preview next week, the 26th. We will preview both the college football and NFL seasons. And then after that, on Thursday night, September the 2nd, that will be the season premiere of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. And I can tell you right now, we're going to be talking about 5 5 of the games that we're going to be getting into, both teams are ranked. So it'll be ranked team versus ranked team 5 times over. So that's going to be hella fun. And that's pretty much it. So Bobby Bowden tribute, Field of Dreams game recap, NBA schedule, MF's Big 3 basketball recap, a supersized edition, the experiences from MF and Bullock at the preseason game, and then at Gillette, and then close it out with the final thoughts on the Olympics, and there you go. So tomorrow night, 10:30, Tone 25, Strictly Sports, penultimate edition, and then after that, MF, the season finale, and then busy season will be here before you know it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's gonna be crazy now. So, yes, there's really nothing more to add. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. So for Anthony Flayo, I'm Michael Fletcher saying so long.